they figured out that Taliban fighters had a methodology, because fighting in the cold sucks. Like, I don't know if you've read any military history, but like nobody likes to fight when it's cold out. And the Taliban fighters, what they would do is they would retreat to these high altitude mountain villages on the Pak border. So 10,000, 11,000 feet of elevation. They would just go hang out all winter. And somebody decided they were going to send 3 Ranger battalions from sea level to fucking 10,000 feet of elevation in the middle of winter to go run these guys down out of their fucking safe havens. Like, no winter break for you guys. So it's called Operation Winter Strike. And it's one of the 2 times in history where all 3 Ranger battalions were deployed to the same area at the same time. And we did real rangering. Like, we drove the trucks as far as they would go, the Hiluxes and everything else before armor. We didn't have any armor. We had gun trucks. We had zero. We had gun trucks, which were pretty cool Hummers with, you know, roll cages on it, but they looked like porcupines because we had a 3 240s and a Mark 19 or a 50 cal up top, and then everybody was armed with, like, there was usually a couple saws on them. So it was like, what was that movie, The Last Starfighter? If you hit the button, it just spins around and shoots everything. That's what our vehicles were like. If somebody like came at us, like the whole thing just erupted in fire, and you're like, we're good.
Fuck left side.
Yeah. Contact left.
Yeah, just death blossoms. Yeah, just death blossoms.
It just fucking goes away.
What was your experience with the Mark 19? Did you like it or hate it?
I loved it.
Really? There's no in between, I've found, from guys who've used it. They either love it or they hate it.
I mean, like, I was a fire supporter, and the reason I liked him is because, like, hey, you're rolling in an A-10 or a AC-130 or a couple of helicopters, and that thing makes a huge cloud. So if somebody is like having a sad face today because they're getting hit with Mark 19 shells, but what they really don't understand is that they're going to have a whole bunch of like chain fucking machine gun fire and or 2.75 rockets and or a 500-pound bomb or a 1,000-pound bomb or a 2,000-pound bomb or 105 millimeter cannon fired from the sky, like right up following that. And that was the reason why I liked this, because it was just such a good marking instrument. I could just create such a big dust cloud that everybody could see it up to 15,000 feet. We're like, oh yeah, that's where we're going to fuck up right there. Let's do it.
God, it's a death Chem-X. Or a Chem Light. It's marking your target.
Marking
you're
your
like,
target.
oh, thank God, they missed. And then heaven is, the hand of God is coming down after you and just obliterating that entire grid square.
Hypothetically speaking, because I know they probably didn't do it like this, but just imagine being in a fighting position. Boom, one round lands 50 feet away, 15 feet away.
They are really bad.
And it's just like, wow, okay, we're all good. Why was the round blue, full of blue chalk? Oh, man.
Yeah.
2,000-pound JDAMs is crazy. We did 500. We did like 2 500s, I think. Well, never dropped it 2K.
What most people don't understand is when those things go off, it's not the shock and explosion that's going to fuck you up. It's all the shit falling down from the sky afterwards. It's so much energy. It blows shit like cars, straps of metal, windows, glass, everything like thousands of feet into the sky. And you're standing there after it goes off and you're like, oh, wow, that was really cool. And all of a sudden you start hearing dink, 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 dink. Dink. Oh shit.
Tire.
Stuff's coming down around you. It is a big boom.
Damn.
Big
Fucking
boom.
wild, dude. And then so the third range, all 3 Ranger bats deployed to which is wild to go from that much elevation change. You cannot train your body because it takes a week, 2 weeks to really climatize to a situation. Yeah, and you guys
was it sea level to 11,000?
Sea level, and within 72 hours, I was at 6,000 feet. In another like 4 days after that, we were at 11.
Walking, and this is how many feet, like for reference, how far were you guys walking when you dismount?
It would be anywhere between, like, we would do anywhere between like 5 to 12 miles a day.
God damn.
In the mountains. And then in the snow, it was snowing at that elevation. And so I remember we drove from Bagram to Asadabad, and then we drove to Nangalam, which is now Fob Blessing, and we're there like, oh, dude, these mountains are big. And me and my JTAC, Sandy Lopez, we were sitting there looking at the terrain of where we're going. I'm like, dude, this is steep. Like, I think it's like neither one of us are going to be both asleep at the same time. So like, let's just we're going to ditch one of our sleeping bags because we had to carry all of our batteries for the week and we had to have all of our radios to talk to aircraft. And it's like, okay, how are we going to shave weight between the two of us so that way we can walk up and down these hills? And we ended up going up this mountain, and it dumped like feet of snow on us. And we found this goat hut right at like 11,000 feet, and literally 6 inches of goat shit on the bottom of it. The thing's like, we're creeping to get in there, and we're like, I guess we're staying in the goat hut for the next day or two until like things are good. And we lay out the sleeping bag, and he's sleeping and I'm sleeping, and we're just freezing. And somebody goes like, dude, the commanders said, let's start a fire. And so we're like, oh fuck yeah. So somebody goes out, and we're like getting the snow off all the wood. We're finding dry pieces of wood, and somebody starts a small fire in this little goat hut. The smoke floats up, hits the lid, and like when you're inside an enclosed space and you can see a layer of smoke. 10,000 spiders minimum descending out of the roof of the goat hut.
Oh, fuck.
Platoon of screaming rangers.
One single Mark 19 round.
Dude, and then we're all outside like, oh, we're good. And they're all like little teeny spiders. And we're like, what's worse, the cold or the spiders and the shit? And we're like, the cold is worse. So we went in, we endured the spiders and the shit for like the next day.
God.
So we could get out of there. Oh, it's so horrible. Yeah, that was a good one.
And then for like, you're walking this much distance, as you're saying, like cutting weight, you're still walking with how many pounds on you? The combat is 35 pounds, like give or take. But if you're doing multiple days, that increases.
I had 2 embitters and a 117, so I was carrying 40 pounds of radio and battery, and 40 pounds of radio just alone, before my weapon and ammo, and my cold weather gear and my sleeping stuff. Like, that's just radios to do my job.
Those ammo, guns, all those little things start stacking up so fast.
And this was before like all the Gucci gear. You got to remember, we were still in like, we were wearing BDU tops, so the green BDU top, and we were wearing chocolate chip bottoms because that was the best color combo. This is prior to multicam.
Yeah, this is
pre-multicam, because you look like a bush when you wear like the desert bottom with a jungle top. You actually kind of blend in better. It really works.
I've never thought about that.
Interesting.
It literally would look like a Christmas tree or a bush because it's green up top and then
ground
bark.
green.
Yeah.
It works, right? And so that was the camo that we were using at the time. And like, this is the best we had was like Daner cold weather boots. And I'll never fucking forget. Like, we were up there freezing. We had the old green wool inserts inside the leather fast rope gloves. And that was all that we had. That was it. And we landed on a helicopter one night and we cleared this valley. And I remember like sleeping in this barn on a big pile of shuck corn. And I am cuddled next to my JTAC. I am like pulling him in. I am hemorrhaging. I am so cold.
Hemorrhaging.
Like, just
releasing.
No, I say hemorrhaging. I'm seizing. Whatever. I'm like, it's like
I'm releasing inside my JTAC.
You're so cold that your back hurts because you're shivering so hard. And the next morning, this 47 comes like rolling up the valley, and we're like, oh, what are they gonna bring? What are they gonna bring? What are they gonna bring? And they rolled in and they kicked out a couple duffel bags. And this is back in the day when like guys would call up with a credit card and they go, hey man, we need like 200 pairs of fucking gloves from the local REI. And we need them driven to this airfield right now. And they would put them on a C-17 and they would be on their way to country immediately. That's what happened is they bought OR gaiters and OR gloves from Outdoor Research.
Yeah, OR was huge at that.
Well, they still are
massive.
The best glove manufacturers. And if we actually could move our fingers during the day to actually work our radios and move our weapons and do our jobs. Yeah.
That's why there's just like, they're an Uber pulling up, ditching everything and then bouncing. You're like, oh.
Well, we were so high elevation, the helicopters couldn't land. They had to keep a forward momentum to get in and get out of the valley and then turn around and get back out. And they were just like kicking it off as they rolled.
Why couldn't they land?
We were at so high elevation. I think we were like 11,500 feet.
Because I don't know. What about the elevation prohibited that from landing?
It's
It's
the
thin air.
yeah, thin air, and I think how the gas, like the motor, it's like very rich, or it starts.
The air is thinner, so you got to.
Yeah, and so it starts running leaner, and you hit that point where then it just will.
Like taking off is not a thing you can do once you land. Kind of
Gas
thing.
is firing. How it's firing, everything is just fucked at that point. So they have to do, like, come in.
And we were at the range limitation where they would stop and get fuel. They would climb to elevation, fly out, and we're like right at the fringes of where they could get to us. They drop it and turn back around and fly out.
It was a wild time.
So what did they drop off?
Outdoor research gloves
Okay, got
and
it.
gaiters.
Yeah.
And then, oh, God, this is the best things ever.
Put some on my feet. Like, dude.